Hello everyone, welcome on in. It's Betting Weekly Game Bet Match, number one tennis betting podcast and YouTube show brought to you in association with Bet Rivers, your hometown sports. We're looking ahead to tomorrow's action in Doha and the action, I think it's later tonight in Rio. It's been a long day for us. We're recording a little bit later on, so I apologise for that. But before I introduce you to Sean Calvert, our senior ATP Tour handicapper, please hit the subscribe button, please hit the like button, give us some comments below throughout the show, any bet you like, anything you want to add to the show. Any comment you have on the show, please put it in the link, the comments button below. And finally, hit that bell. And every time any content gets produced by us here, our team of handicappers, whether it's the soccer, whether it's the tennis, whether it's the dojo, whatever it is, you'll be notified of that. Formalities over. Sean Calvert, good morning, or good afternoon to you, or good evening, whatever it is.
Yeah, keep going, yeah.
Yeah. It's been a long day, my friend.
Good evening. It has been a long day, hasn't it? But... yeah, I'm all right, thank you. Yes, you?
Roles reversal. You've gone first class back from Florida, and I was on a bus today.
I know when you spoke to me a little while ago, you said I'm on a bus. I thought there's something not right there. I've never known you get a bus ever at any point. So was that a first for you today?
No, I've been on a bus before, but I haven't been on a
like
bus for
20
years.
so.
Well, I weighed up the situation. The traffic was really bad. An Uber was going to cost me 20 times more than the bus, and all I was going to make up was about 2 minutes on my journey.
I see,
and
okay.
There was a bus that arrived at the same time, and I thought, you know what, I'll get it. So I got the bus, run and back.
It's good. I mean, you know, you're stretching your horizons using public transport. Yeah, it's good. What's not to like? You'll be addicted now. You'll be over
I won't.
Miami or wherever you're going, and getting the $1 bus. And that I would like to see actually.
No,
that would be
I was when I used to get the bus going for school. They had the thing called a queue or a line in America. If you were at the front of the line, you get on the bus first. That was always the way it worked.
Is that
doesn't
not how
work
it works
like that?
now?
It doesn't work like that now on the buses over here. Whoever's just steam straight on, whoever's involved.
I think London's a bit different though, isn't it? London's just a free for all. It's like the tube, isn't it? You try and stand on the platform where you think the doors are going to open, and then you kind of barge on. All gloves are off in London. It's totally different. I can't imagine it's like that in the Cotswolds or somewhere. There's like a couple of 80-odd-year-olds trying to get on. I can't imagine it's like that. That's a London thing, I think.
It's not a very good thing. And we didn't have a great day yesterday on our pixel today as well. Not a great day. We didn't have a good start, but obviously we've got some tournament matches to speak about tomorrow in Doha. And I've literally just gone in, logged on straight away. The matches in Rio are later on this evening. I'm taking, and they're not tomorrow. They're later on tonight.
I think the ones we're talking about are on tomorrow. I'll just have a
okay, that's good. That's good because I just sometimes when we do these shows in midweek, I think we've got to get people across to the Bet Rivers website nice and early. But we've got a bit of time, so there's no need to rush. Okay, that's maybe chill out a little bit.
Oh, good.
Before we go into the matches and the picks that you have discussed, I mean, Qatar over in Qatar in Doha, I was reading the comments today from Medvedev. Did you see the comments he made today about?
Was he moaning by any chance?
He was moaning about how slow it was. He was saying that
makes a change, doesn't it?
Yeah, he said that Rotterdam was slow, Marseille was quick, but this is the slowest of the lot.
He always says that. If I'd had $10 for every time Medvedev has said this is the slowest court I've ever played on, I could pretty much retire now. He does it every time. I'm slightly surprised he said Marseille was quick. I wouldn't have said that myself, but a little surprising from him. But if it's not a decent pace, he always says it's the slowest court I've ever played on. This is standard Medvedev behaviour, to be honest. Yeah, it's not the quick. If we're talking about conditions, yeah, it's not particularly quick. I said that at the start of the week. It's a kind of slowish sort of medium court, but the wind doesn't help. I watched a fair bit of Medvedev against Khachanov. Actually, there was one rally that was 53 shots, and it's killing the game. Really, I could go on about this for a while, but you can't be having 53 shot rallies. Okay, one every maybe one a season or something, but you're getting sort of 30, 40 shot rallies all the time. The balls are slow. We know that. I think they're using Dunlop ATP balls here this year. The court, a few people have said, is a bit sort of grittier than it has been in the past. But yeah, it's what the tournaments do now. They try and get these long matches to get supposedly better value for the paying spectators. But it's killing the players. I'm sure Medvedev was not too happy about the conditions, but we knew it was going to be like this. He'll be doing the same in Indian Wells in a couple of weeks. He'll be saying, "Oh, it's slow." Yeah, it is, but it's slow every year. So yeah, pretty bog standard Medvedev.
Yeah, pretty bog standard. The conditions obviously changed from the daytime to the nighttime, as Sean touched on. There's a lot of wind around. I watched a couple of matches. I watched the Alcaraz matches last night against Chile. A bit of windy conditions.
Yeah, it's always windy there.
Yeah, the scheduling has got to be adjusted and taken into consideration. We have two matches that we're going to discuss over in Doha tomorrow. The first match we already know starts at 8 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow, and it involves the British number one, Jack Draper, up against Christopher O'Connell. Now, if it is slow, this isn't going to suit Jack Draper, but he is a minus 560 favourite here against Christopher O'Connell, who's plus 390. Spread is 4.5. Total here is 21.5, which is very, very low for a Draper match. These kind of matches you'd be 22.5, 23.5, but 21 is a very rare occurrence to see that kind of line. 27 markets available right now on the Bet Rivers website and on the app, so make sure you download the app to get access to those 27 markets. And remember, if you do have a bet on this match, you'll be able to live stream the match on your mobile, your tablet, your laptop, whichever device you want to use. Interestingly, the head-to-head here is massively in favour of the Aussie. Christopher O'Connell leads 2-0 in the head-to-heads, and one of them was in 2024 in Indian Wells, which I would probably guess would be kind of similar conditions that we have here today. Well, we'll come on to that. The other one was back in 2019 in a challenger when Jack Draper was a very young man, but O'Connell won that 6-2, 6-3. I'll let you go there because I'm going to sneeze. Okay. I'm going to sneeze. Apologies.
It's all right. Draper he's very short here, isn't he? Minus 560 based on the career series. Okay, one of the matches was when Draper was developing, but I was there a couple of years ago. It might have been last year. No, the last year or the year before. I was courtside at Indian Wells when O'Connell beat Draper as a 4.33 plus 333 chance, and he deserved it that day. He beat Draper fair and square, and he beat him pretty comfortably in the end. Now he's even bigger in price, plus 390. In similar-ish conditions, as you said. If you look at the head-to-head of the two matches, service points won and return points won. Okay, the first match, as I've said, you can maybe disregard that a little bit, but 111 to 89 in terms of service points won and return points won totals in favour of O'Connell. O'Connell winning 82% of his first serve points against 68% for Jack Draper, and O'Connell winning a huge 45% of return points against 34% for Draper. So it's been a matchup so far that O'Connell has enjoyed, and Draper certainly hasn't. O'Connell's got a decent record in Doha as well. Quarter-finalist here in 2023, lost in a final set to Medvedev that year. So very close to making the semi-finals. And he's held serve 95% of the time so far in the three matches that he's had so far this Doha. He also played well at the Australian Open, lost in 5 sets to Tommy Paul. Okay, he lost, but 5 sets against Tommy Paul, and Paul was playing well in Melbourne. That's it shows you what he's capable of doing. Interestingly, he's the only player with a single-handed backhand to ever beat Jack Draper at main level. It's not that many matches, there's only about 12, but even so, he's the only one to have done it. Draper's obviously going to be massively keen to win this one. All the tennis players have this thing, don't they? If they've lost twice to the same player, if you lose again, then he's your bunny, basically, is kind of how they see it, isn't it? They don't want to lose 3 times in a row to the same guy. So, he's going to be desperately keen to win this. He did play well, Jack Draper. I watched him yesterday against Poppy, and he played well for his first match, but you've got to go over 1.5 total games here, I think, on the basis that not only on the matchup, on how well O'Connell's playing, on how well he plays at this particular tournament, despite it not being quick. Just gives him a little bit of extra time on that single-handed backhand that he's got. So over 21.5 games, minus 1.9 with Bet Rivers. That is my first official play in Doha.
Yeah, I think it's very rare that you can get 21.5 games in a Jack Draper match and a best of 3. I mean, he's a big server.
They think he's going to win the 6-3, 6-4, don't they? That's basically what they're thinking, or something like that.
Yeah, I think the conditions are a leveller, and Jack Draper, I think, is a very, very heavy favourite, minus 560, but that's far, far too short for me to be involved. I quite like the 4.5 O'Connell. I know he's short minus 136.
That's possible as well, yeah.
I might even go down to 3.5. This is going to be a lot of testing match. There's going to be a load of markets you can get with O'Connell in on the Bet Rivers website. Like I said, 27 different markets available, and this is the one that Sean has highlighted. The best one, it's over 21.5 games at minus 109, and that is our first official play of the day. I've literally, Sean, just before I tell anyone watching this, I've just come out, and it's about 0 degrees outside, isn't it?
It's quite chilly, yes.
I've literally just been on a bus, been on 3 trains, come back. I've run in to do this podcast, and I've come into a room that's like now about 25, 26 degrees. And I can't stop sneezing, and my nose is streaming because of the difference. I haven't even had time to...
Do you want to go and get a tissue or something?
No, I'm fine. I'll
you have your house at 26 degrees?
Well, it feels like it. This office is about... Downstairs, it's like, I don't know, 18, 19. When you come up here, it is like a sauna. And then when you go out of here, you're freezing. I don't know what... Heat rises, but this office, with all the electrical equipment in it, it's hot. It's really hot. I've just come out now, so I apologise if I keep sneezing or I keep having
While you're doing that, I should point out, by the way, that only 2 underdogs have won so far out of the first 15 in Doha. So there you go. Most of the favourites have won 2-0. The only 2 dogs that have won at this exact time that we're speaking was one of them, which was a qualifier, which was Luca Nardi against Zhang, so we couldn't have had that anyway. And the other one was Berrettini, just beat Djokovic. Although 2 of my leans did cash in that one, the set one overs and the set one to Berrettini. They both came in. So a very lean time for underdog backers so far in Doha. Hardly any.
Yeah, the big shock of the day so far. Novak Djokovic is out. Well, is it a big shock anymore? I suppose let's talk about Djokovic quickly before we move on to our second match. But I mean, he's still considered third favourite to win the majors. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, he's a different animal at majors, isn't he? I don't think I know he wants to win that 100th title, but he's not got that same fire and the passion for a 250 or a 500 or even a 1000 as he has for majors. I think that's fairly apparent and quite understandable at his age.
I think he's having more fun playing doubles with Verdasco and Andy Murray coached him.
I thought he'd retired ages ago, Nando. I saw he was playing doubles with Djokovic this week, but I haven't seen him play for a couple of years at least. So
if you got the telephone call from Novak Djokovic, said you want to play doubles, there's a few quid in it in Doha. We'll get nice big appearance money. You're gonna give up retirement, aren't you, Sean?
I'm sure, but it seems that most players would they'd do that while they were still relatively active. They wouldn't wait for about 2 years of not playing, then come back and say, "Oh, but this is my retirement match," and then disappear again. That seems a bit weird. But...
Roll on 10 years. Now, hopefully, we're still working for Bet Rivers, but roll on 10 years. The year's 2035. I get the old call. Sean, it's Nigel. Get the old band back. We've been given a big offer. You'd be there, wouldn't you? You'd be there.
Of course, yeah. 2035. When's that?
10 years.
Oh, yeah. Shouldn't have been that difficult for me to do the maths, should it?
10 years.
Yeah, I think so. It's not quite the same, though, is it? We're not in a sort of physical, job where we're pushing ourselves to the limits every day on the court, grinding it out. It just seems a bit of an odd thing for Verdasco to do, just kind of not play for a while and then come back, play a bit of doubles and say, this is my swan song. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Well, that's what they're doing, and that's where I wouldn't be surprised if we've seen probably win the doubles rather than... He obviously can't win the singles, but
I doubt he's going to win the doubles. Very surprised.
Well, we'll see what happens. Next match, Jiri Lehecka up against Fabian Marozsan. Lehecka is minus 360. Marozsan is plus 270. Spread is 2.5. The total here is 20.5. On a total, it's over is minus 150 and under is plus 110. 20.5 looks... I don't know if that's correct, but that looks very cheap to me. If that is correct, that would be where I'll be going straight away. I've just only seen this graphic here. Lehecka played well in his first round match, or was Dimitrov really poor? You can't really sum it up. But Lehecka did what he had to do after he had to pull out against Hurkacz over in Rotterdam. And Marozsan, we know, is capable of big performances against big players, but his inconsistency is the problem for Marozsan.
I don't mind taking a chance on Marozsan in some way at these odds. I think this is too short on Lehecka. It's certainly too short based on some of the statistics that I've got here. And we know Marozsan is more than capable of beating top 20, top 10 players. He beat Lehecka as a 3.3 plus 230 chance in Rome 2 years ago on the clay. I think that was the same week when he beat Alcaraz. And he's won 3 of his last 5 matches, Marozsan, against top 20 opponents. And one of the other 2 that he lost in 2 tiebreaks, 7-6, 7-6 to Rublev, I think it was, in Rotterdam. So this is a player, Marozsan, who on his day is certainly capable of knocking off a player like Lehecka. He's already done it once in Rome. And when he is on, he's a tricky opponent because he mixes up the play very, very well. His drop shot is excellent, one of the best out there, and he makes baseliners extremely uncomfortable with that variety that he has. Doesn't really have any obvious technical deficiencies in his game for me. He's very solid off both sides. The only thing is, and you mentioned it there, sometimes he just doesn't seem focused. Sometimes you get a performance from him which is very lukewarm. That seems to happen probably too often for his liking. Certainly his team's liking. If you look at what happened in that match in Rome, Marozsan won 54% of his second serve points that day against just 42 for Lehecka. Yes, it was on clay, but it's not like Lehecka isn't a very good player on clay. He's certainly more than capable on the red dirt is Lehecka. Now, if you look at the last 12 months on outdoor hard, this surface at main level, their service points won and return points won totals are exactly the same. They're both on 102. Lehecka's got a slightly better win rate, 72% win rate, which is very good. Marozsan also pretty good, 63% win rate for him as well. So I'm not quite understanding why he's minus 360. I know Lehecka's playing well this season. We backed him, didn't we? I think we had him outright a few weeks ago, didn't we? And ended up retiring. One of the many outrights we've had that have retired or withdrawn.
Played well in Rotterdam. He played really, really well. And
we had him in Rotterdam, didn't we? And he ended up either retiring or withdrawing. I can't remember which it was now. I've blocked it out of my mind. But yeah, he's been playing well. But is he playing well enough to be minus 360 against this guy? I don't think so. So Marozsan for me, plus 3.5 games. The price I've got here is 2.2 plus 120. So you get plus money on Marozsan with a 3.5 game start on the handicap.
Yep, and Marozsan did beat Lehecka at Rome in 2023 in their previous meeting. I think that was after he beat. Was that after he beat Alcaraz?
It was that round? Same tournament, I think. I can't remember whether it was before or after.
Yeah, I think he beat Alcaraz in round 1 and then went on to beat Lehecka to make his mark. And he's a player that's improving. Both these players are doing very, very well. But the price here does seem a little bit short, minus 3. So I like that total over 20.5. I know it's
similar bet, yeah.
Yeah, I might do a little bit of a parlay. The over 20.5 and over 21.5 on both those matches there. Seeing the court is slow, so it might be good. Okay, now we're moving across to Rio. And this is the tournament that is playing in these unbelievably hot conditions and humid conditions. I saw a tweet from Casper Ruud yesterday saying this is the biggest test from any player on the tour this year is what these players, and he's not even playing it. And he was saying,
I wonder why he's not playing.
Yeah. From Norway, he's not really going to fancy going out to Rio in this kind of heat. But it is a proper test, and it's the first round showed that, didn't it, Sean?
Yeah, it's brutal. I mean, these conditions I said on Sunday, it's survival of the fittest, really. And we had a bit of a nightmare, didn't we, on the first day? We had Facundo Diaz-Acosta, who should have won against Thiago Monteiro. I think he was 102 to 98 ahead in terms of service points won and return points won totals in that match. Ended up losing it in a final set tiebreak. And then we had an absolutely shocking performance from Tabilo against Tseng. Lost to Tseng in straight sets. I'm not sure anybody would have picked that. And Seyboth Wild struggled as well in the latter stages against Munar. Which is annoying because I highlighted that Lorenzo Musetti was quite unlikely to play in that bottom half of the draw, and he did indeed pull out, a few hours after we did the show, didn't he?
Yep.
So it's annoying that we got the right idea, but unfortunately the players that I selected didn't perform.
How many times has that happened? We've got the right idea, read the room fantastically well, and just got it wrong.
Yeah, well, what can you do? Munar's probably got a half decent chance now, but if you look at that,
I think I was going to back him to win the tournament. Actually,
wouldn't be surprised. He's been playing very well on the hard courts. That was a kind of 50-50 Munar against Seyboth. I was just thinking with Seyboth that the sort of motivation factor. It's his Wimbledon, if you like, isn't it? The Rio Open. All the Brazilian players, but yeah, looking at this draw now, it's really open. I should say, these two matches that I've got down here are the only ones that are set for Wednesday. So I haven't chosen these. This is what we've been given. And these are the only two that are set for Wednesday. As I say, Monteiro against Tseng. Do you want me to do that one first?
Yeah, I mean, we'll obviously there's going to be more matches come on while this podcast is comes out. It's going to be live, and you'll be watching this thinking, why aren't we doing these other matches? But these are the two matches that we have.
We don't have anything with odds apart from these two.
Yeah, Monteiro v Tseng is the first one that Sean is going to discuss. And Monteiro, as Sean said, come through a real tough match in his first round in these brutal conditions. And yet he's a heavy favourite, minus 205 against Tseng, who's plus 163. Spreads 4.5, and total here is 22.5, Sean. I automatically, doesn't matter who you play. I think after what Monteiro went through, I know he's got a winning head-to-head record. He's won very easy as well, 6-2, 6-1 on a clay court in Genoa in 2023 against Tseng. But I think that was a brutal match that's got to take its toll at your body.
Yeah, it has. But I mean, as far as Monteiro is concerned, as I said, the same applies with Seiboth. You know, it's his week of the year, isn't it? This is what he trains for and lives for and plays for is the chance to go deep in Rio. I don't think he's going to be that bothered about a little bit of fatigue, but bearing in mind he's playing Tseng, who I didn't see the Tableau Tseng match, but I don't know what's happened to Tableau there to lose like that to Tseng. That doesn't really make a great deal of sense. 6-2, 7-5. One of the stranger results in recent times. As I said, Monteiro a little bit fortunate to get the win 7-6 in the final set against Diaz Acosta. He was behind in the stats, but he's edged it on the tiebreak. But this is now a chance for Thiago Monteiro in this draw. I've highlighted that Musetti obviously pulled out as I expected him to. Looking at this draw now, he beat Tseng easily in the Genova Challenger, very easily, 6-2, 6-1. He's beaten Sebastian Baez at this tournament before, although Baez has also beaten him at this tournament before, and he hasn't got a great head-to-head record. But as far as Monteiro is concerned, he will be looking at this quarter now, or he should be, thinking this is a very, very good chance here. And he's also 6-0 head-to-head, by the way, against Roberto Carballes Baena. So he'll be desperately hoping Carballes Baena comes through that top half of Q3, so he can beat him for a seventh time. As far as this match is concerned, Tseng, he was highly rated. A lot of people were talking about him. There's a lot of chatter about him a few years ago, but he really lacks the power to be much of a force at this level. Certainly, yeah. I can't see him ever. Well, ever's kind of strong, but at the minute, I can't see him really doing anything to change that. He just hasn't got the power. I watched him live with my boy actually in Umag when we were in Umag last year. Lagan likes Fabio Fognini for whatever reason. Probably because I do. And he watched Fognini. He was very excited to watch Fognini, and Tseng absolutely smoked him, something like 6-1, 6-1 or something like that. It was one of Fognini's, not the most memorable day that he ever had. But if we look at what he's done in his career at main level, Tseng, it's not great. 23% win rate and a service points won and return points won total of 93. This is something Monteiro, with his much greater firepower, he's a much heavier ground strokes, bigger serve, big lefty forehand. He should be winning this pretty comfortably, I would suggest. I would be tempted on minus 3.5 games here on Monteiro. That, I believe, is a plus 120 chance with Bet Rivers. I can't see Monteiro giving up this opportunity against this opponent, even if he is a little bit leggy.
The order of play isn't out yet, but we do know the action starts tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. So there's plenty of time to get across to the Bet Rivers website, download the app, play them. If you have a bet, you'll be able to watch it. Interesting match. Monteiro obviously got a huge support, big tournament for him, but a little leg weary, and Tseng obviously not up to that level, but Sean believes here the minus 3.5 could be the way to profit. The next match sees Francesco Comesana up against Nicolas Jarry. There is no head-to-head record to go on here, but it'll be a good atmosphere over in Rio. We've got the Chilean up against the Argentinian crowd. Be very, very raucous affair. Very different from what we're seeing over in Doha, where there's literally nobody watching the court. It's crazy how money talks. The big money they're getting over there, but no crowd. Over here in Rio, it's a different
Perfect
story.
For me.
Yeah. Jarry's minus 215, Comesana plus 170, spread 2.5, 22.5 is the total here. Sean will rather be in Qatar, Doha, sitting there on his own on the court.
Yep.
Not getting involved in the flag waving and the
None
cheering
of that.
for the South African match. But that is what you're going to get when you're going to watch Jarry against Comesana. It'll be like a football match. I'm sure of it.
Yes, it's all, it's always a great atmosphere at Rio. Maybe I'll go there one day. I'm not. I don't know about this 36 degrees business.
You love the heat.
I do, but 30, 36 plus all the humidity as well. It's a real feel of. Let's have a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. I did write this down actually. Yeah, it's going to feel about 36, 37. So a couple of degrees cooler on Wednesday when these matches take place. But that's pretty hot, isn't it? I don't know about that. I think all those people would annoy me with all of the yelling and I'm not sure I could cope.
You don't
with that.
You don't want to be questioning people yelling in Rio. Just a little bit of tourist advice here. I think you just go with the flow. I don't. Think
I would have to, but if my guy was losing and I was in the middle of all that in 37, I think I'd have to just get up and leave, and I'm not sure I could handle it.
You might have to leave. I just don't think it's a wise move to start telling people to be quiet in Rio and stuff like that.
I never tell people to be quiet. I've never been
there, but I just think I think it'd be quite a wise move.
I never tell people to be quiet.
Okay.
Not often anyway. Not often. And if I do, I pick and choose my people, that's for sure. So Comesana versus Jarry. I've left this for last for a reason. It's very, very tricky. Both had 3-set matches in those extreme conditions in Rio on Monday, but Comesana's match was much longer. It was 3 hours and 21 minutes. We're talking about fatigue. The Jarry match was, as you could probably expect with Jarry, was an hour less. So very long match in very, very trying conditions. So you would expect Comesana to be a little bit leggy. That's probably your first clue, if you like. And that win that Comesana had was his first main level win on clay ever. He hasn't played that many matches. He's a difficult guy to kind of evaluate because his stats are very limited, certainly at main level. He's 1-4 win-loss now on clay at main level, with a service points won and return points won total of 97. And look to what he's done on clay. It's all right. In the last 12 months on clay, 67% win rate in challenges and a service points won and return points won total of 103. Yeah, so it's okay, but he only wins 50% of his second serve points on clay at challenger level. So it's not inspiring. It's not making you think he can make this big leap up. To play in the big guys. He's never faced any of the big servers in my database, so I've got nothing to go on there. He's 0-3 versus top 50 ranked players on clay. So it's on top of the fact that he's a bit leggy. It's not really inspiring me to back him at plus 170. Jarry's not an easy guy to really predict either these days. He's had those vestibular issues that I've talked about before. After he made the final in Rome, and he had a shocking last half of the season last year for that reason. But he made the semi-finals here as a qualifier, Jarry, back in 2023. So he played 5 or 6 matches in a row here in these conditions a couple of years ago. That being said, it is his home tournament next week in Santiago. So there could be people that think, well, is he really up for this? But it is a 500, and he's made the semis before. He's gone very deep here before. Another thing to think about with Jarry is he hit 53 unforced errors against the lesser Cerundolo in that win on Monday. It's a bit of a tricky one, this. I would suggest I would probably go on the side of the fatigue coming into play if this goes to a deciding set, in which case 2-1 to Jarry in those circumstances, which is a plus 265 chance of Bet Rivers, would probably be a tentative lean, but I think this one is very tricky.
Very tricky match. But Bet Rivers make Jarry a very heavy favourite, minus 215. 28 different markets available on then. And remember, the action starts in Rio at 2:30 p.m. on Wednesday. Sean, just the 2 official plays both in Doha, yeah?
Yep, 2 official plays in Doha. I'm hoping the underdogs are going to start performing in Doha on Wednesday. Yeah, the bets are where are they? Over 21.5 games at 1.92. That's minus 109. We bet Rivers in the match between O'Connell and Jack Draper. I know he said Scott again there. And the other one, Fabian Marozsan, plus 3.5 games at plus 120 against Lehecka.
Yep. They are the official plays. There is the bets. Head across to the Bet Rivers website. You'll be able to see all the markets. There'll be more matches coming. As we say, we're recording this now where there's very limited amount of bets available or matches available. But as the day goes on this evening, on Tuesday, more and more matches will come available. Now, usually tomorrow we have an extra edition of Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. But unfortunately, I'm not around tomorrow. So for tomorrow only, all of Sean's picks will be available on our Instagram page, @BecauseWeWin. If you're not subscribed to the Instagram account, @BecauseWeWin, you will not be getting those picks. So make sure you open up an account, give us a follow. We'll follow you back. We're following everybody back as well. But for tomorrow only, because I'm not around, all the bets for Thursday's action over in Doha and in Rio will be available only to Instagram account followers only. So @BecauseWeWin is the handle. Make sure you follow us on that. Sean, thanks very much for your time. I know you've been hanging around for a bit for today, so I appreciate you waiting around.
No worries.
We'll be back next week, Sunday. I think we'll be back on Sunday looking at the action on the tennis action, and we'll go through all the best bets on Sunday as well for next week's action. And I think the action moves across to Dubai, and a tournament I'm usually there, but I won't be there this year. I'll be back in England in freezing cold conditions. But anyway, enjoy the rest of your week. Hopefully we'll cash some tickets. And remember, tomorrow's Because We Win is only available on Instagram. So make sure you subscribe. That's it for today. Take care.